Hello, good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Welcome to the Big Down. This your boy Bobby Hill. See, we got a new look. Try to change things up a little bit. Trying to diversify and expand a little bit. Trying to change things up. So you might see a new look. You might see a new picture up here. Some over here. Got some over here. Got some cactus right here. Lovely picture of me and my wife right here. Still got still got my little backdrop here. Got my little Texas right here. I know it look like I got some horns sticking out of my head. I know y'all laughing and tripping on that. But yeah, that's my picture right there. The picture of the Texas Longhorn. Represent. So I'm still North Carolina in my blood, but I've been in Texas 5 years, going on six. So trying to, like I say, when in Rome, do as the Romans. When in Texas, do as damn Texans do. So I always do. At the beginning of my show, give a shout out to my lovely wife, Sandra Hill. She's, like I said, my rock, my backbone. She helps me with everything I do. This is because of her helping me. So yeah, excuse me if my voice sounds a little, froggy or rough. I've been, dealing with a little bug. And so my wife was sick, last week, and she passed it on to me. That's part of marriage, sickness and health. I ain't running. I'm not gonna sit up there and not be around my wife because she's sick. I'm still gonna be there with her. Help her get well. Damn it, if I happen to get something, so be it. Damn it, we suffer together. We thrive together. We cry together. We laugh together. We suffer together. That's part of the marriage. So that's how we get down. So yeah, fighting through this. I had a little sore throat this morning when I woke up and just took a little. I think she had me. I don't take medicine. I just started, really, really. I take vitamins, but I've never been a person that really take a lot of medicine. Like I see the methamphetamine, like the painkillers. Definitely ain't taking no, like oxycontin and that. And then I never like. I was more of a natural person, So I ain't never. I excuse me. I'm cautious of manufactured drugs in my body. So I just started taking. She convinced me to take Nyquil and Dayquil, and that has been helping me out. And I took some cough drops, and some throat spray, not the chloroseptic, but something like that, similar that like sort of relieve the burning, like on contact, some stuff like that. So yeah, she helped me out. Us is I get stubborn, I get about taking medicine, going to the doctor, stuff like yes, I'm that person too. I'm that. I grew up around men that were hesitant to do it, and damn it, it filtered its way down to me. So, but I'm getting better at it. I got to set up, 51. So I'm gonna set up an appointment to. You got to find me a primary because another thing, like I said, I've been driving trucks. I just never, like I said, I never had nobody really sit down and talk to me about it. So I never like saw it as a priority as far as getting a primary care physician or going to. I now the only thing that really like first thing I need to take care of is my vision because as I get older, my vision is starting to get challenging a little bit. Not for everything, but just for little things, as far as reading and seeing stuff, and probably sometimes at nighttime, with the glare of the cars and glare of the lights and stuff. Sometimes that bothers me. I couldn't, as far as reading signs sometimes. So, I had glasses before, but they broke and just hadn't been Just and went took time out and do it. So take time. So next couple of weeks, you gonna see me up here in my glass. I was warm before, but I sort of got away from, like I said, I broke my last pair, and I just haven't bought any. Went back to the get an eye exam and redo my prescription and get another one. I just ain't took the time out to do it. But yeah, I'm starting to. I ain't starting to. I've been, but I'm just gonna take care of that and start taking it seriously. I don't. Man, eventually I'm gonna have to get me a colonoscopy. So I'm gonna have to do it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it. It just I can't change it. I can't. I can't run from it. Can't whatever. Just I need to take care of that for me. I need to do that. So make sure I always laugh at people about saying make sure make sure I'm on plumbing. Make sure all your plumbing is correct. Cause you're dealing with a house. Well, if you're dealing with a house, you got bad plumbing. It seems like bad plumbing is a different type of problem than like electrical and all that. When the plumbing's bad, it seems like yeah, it changes the whole like the way you look at the house when the plumbing is bad. But still, same thing with humans, man. You gotta get your plumbing. Make sure all your plumbing right. Make sure all your man, they call it plumbing. But you know what I'm talking about. Make sure your body processing stuff. Make sure your body digests things. Make sure you can like digest food. Make sure your body can process food. Make sure your body can absorb it and use the good parts of your food. And make sure your body can properly filter out the waste and discard of it. You know, that's what you want. As you get older, that's all you. It's true. Sometimes it's the most satisfying thing in the world, taking that damn daily poop. For real. And I'm being honest. It just sometimes it is. Man. It's just because you think about your body and stuff. Think about all the things that you did when you were younger that you took for granted, and now when you're older, you see that all the times you bump your elbow going every time you bump your elbow, going around that corner. All the time you bump your damn leg on that table. All the time you rolled your ankle and then walked it off. All that stuff. When you begin to get older, all that stuff comes back up. Like, hey, remember me? And that's life. That's what young people got to look forward to. But it's a good thing. You want to look forward to that. You want to grow old. You want to grow old. You want to deal with that. Ain't nothing wrong with this. I love this. You know, I love being 51 years old, being here. Trying to be trying to live every day, trying to live a productive, active life and stuff. So it's good being able to do that. It's good being able to be in a position to be able to do that at this age and be able to move around good, being able to have a sharp mind, being able to. I ain't gonna lie, I forget stuff sometimes. I don't forget stuff like that, but I forget stuff. At times I be talking to my homeboy, me and Aunt, talking to him. At times I forget what I say in the middle, like what the hell we just talking about? Or if he could, or let's say he, whatever. He has to get out for a second. Let's say his girl called him. Somebody called him. He had like, all right, hold on. His favorite term is Bob, hold the line. So he'll be there, be back in about a minute, and we be like, what the hell we just talking about? Man, I don't even know, man. It'd be like that. It'd be like that. But yeah, that's the I'm just happy that I'm able to be able to like I say get around, be able to enjoy this phase of my life where I'm in this new area, in Texas, somewhere I never thought I'll be, with a beautiful woman, someone who has my back, and like I said, because I need you at this age, man. You need someone to have your back, man, because you got things going on with your body and things could. There's stuff that there's things that can still pop up anytime. Something that you don't know, but you need somebody there for you. So just in case something pop up, it might incapacitate you. You might can't walk. You might can't get out of bed for a while. It's good to have that person there to take up that slack. When it's 90, that's in the time where sometimes it got to be 90-20, and then always 50-50 in a relationship. Sometimes it can be 90. No, I said 90-20. I'm sorry. Oh my God. 90-10. But yeah, sometimes it's going to be that. Sometimes it's going to be 80-20. 70-30, 60-40, 50-50. Sometimes you might can't do nothing. It might be 100-0. So it's like that in a relationship, man. Then you got to take the good with the bad. I'm glad that I'm here in this phase of my life that I got somebody here that I can share it with and be able to, still grow even at the age, even in 50, 60, you're always growing. Even when you grow old, you're still growing, you're still learning, you're still learning this world. This world is changing, man. We all learn this world together. Ain't nobody knows what happens. We learn it together. So it's good to still be gaining knowledge, throughout your life. Still be able to, you know, still be able to process things in life. Process, you know, eh, the atmosphere, the environment, the people, being able to, see stuff and recognize it. Little things that people might take advantage of while we're young. Sometimes it be the only thing that keeps some people alive, the fact that they have a good mind. They may have lost everybody, but they still got their mind, you know. So yeah, it could yeah, very important. Very important. You know. It's crazy, man. Like I said, this world crazy, man. This yeah, you need to be able to process this world, all this crazy stuff that be happening, man. It's just I don't understand like what happened to I don't know decency and stuff. It's everything becomes so like monetized. Everything is about power, money, power. Showing that you have power over people. Not thinking about humanity, like decent, basic, like kindness and stuff. I say that because we all heard the story about the Walmart them banned I guess the influencer, I guess whatever Damon Darling for life. You know, and this man he wasn't stealing, he wasn't out here acting stupid. He wasn't out here trying to, doing these crazy pranks, stealing some, trying to holler some girl, trying to do some old stupid stuff, some old Johnny Knoxville mess. That he not doing all that. All he was doing, money, help the groceries and all that stuff. And that right there got you a lifetime ban. He's buying stuff for people, and he got treated just like someone who was shoplifted out the store. That is where we at. That is where we're at in this world. Walmart. I mean, and I'm saying Walmart, man. Why are you doing this for? You already don't fell off because Amazon, other places are providing better options than y'all. First of all, you messed up when COVID subsided and you didn't go back 24 hours. That was the only thing that was the only thing that was separating you from other places that you were big quality store and you were open 24 hours. If you wanted to go in at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can go. You had the whole store. You can get anything. Go shopping. Nobody there. Stuff and things like that. When you started, I understand with COVID, you had to shut everything down. You started closing at 8 o'clock, and then went up to 10 and 11, and you just stood there and you just said, "We ain't doing 24 hours no more." The thing that cost you. The thing that cost because that would separate y'all. But now, with this right here, man, it's just I don't know, it's just a hard pill to swallow because we haven't, we go to I ain't been we went to Walmart like I think we went to Walmart yesterday. Therefore, that's the first time I've been to Walmart in about it's been about a month or two. You know, I mean, that's a change. So when I was a truck driver, we stayed at Walmart. Everywhere you go, you need to go find a Walmart. You need some supplies, need some food, need anything, you find a Walmart. Now, not so much. And just like I said, just sad that to see that, man. This man he's doing kindness. He's doing good work. As people are saying in certain circles, he's doing God's work in the name of Jesus. He's doing good work. You see why people are so confused about this country. You sit up here talking about you're a Christian country and all this. So, you know, we support, somebody helping out the less fortunate. Isn't that what the basis of the teachings of Jesus Christ is? Helping out the less fortunate. I'm just saying, this is a rhetorical question. I ain't trying to, stir up nothing. I'm just asking a question. But speaking of that, I was hearing about something else, and this is the opposite of this, man. People got all, I was one of the people got upset talking about when the verdict was not guilty for, the murder of Trayvon Martin. You know, and I say murder. I don't care what it says. I don't care what the court say. I say it was murder. By George Zimmerman, and the fact that he got a not guilty because it's just the circumstances of the case. It just wasn't nothing. It wasn't enough. It wasn't. I'm trying, when it happened, I always try to make something good out of it, but it wasn't enough evidence to convict him beyond a reasonable doubt, and that is the standard at which justice is served in the United States. You have to be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and those certain circumstances in a jury's eye that left out, and that's how he got off. And people's upset, and they're like, how could he was out here for years just flaunting, talking about, hey, I'm George Zimmerman, I killed Trayvon Martin. He was sort of acting like a little celebrity off of this. But slowly but surely, life is long. The longer you stay around here, the longer you realize the walls start caving in. Now the walls are caved in on him. Now he's living in his own prison. He didn't have to go to jail. He's living in his prison right now in society. He can't do nothing. Nobody. He's a leech. Nobody will bother him. That is justice. Just sit tight sometimes. It ain't always swift. Sometimes it's all some, but this is when it's there. It's there. So I like the fact that I don't know. I just like the fact that homeless and all, because I mean the reason why, and I'm usually not the type of person to sit up here and gloat over somebody's misery, but this man sat up here. I remember his brother. On Fox News. I remember this. I turned on Fox News one time to see this. His brother. Somebody asked him, his brother, if you could change anything about this whole thing. This was after they had found him not guilty. He asked him, like, if there was anything about this circumstance you could change, would you change it? His brother sat up there and said, no, I won't change anything about what happened. Not even, Trayvon Martin getting shot. He said he would not change anything about that because that was God's will. Where's his brother right now? You know what I'm saying? So there's God's will that he's homeless and, whatever, going through whatever. Don't got no money. And all this money that these, over Fox News and all these conservatives was paying his attorney fees, and he got all these millions. What happened? I mean, what happened? You know what I'm saying? You never, what happened? Period. Yeah. That's all another story. That damn Donald Trump. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I was at damn Donald Trump, man. He, couldn't find out when he was at I think at the NATO summit where he had to switch planes because there was a plot on his life, and the credible plot that they were going to try to shoot down that Qatari airplane, which wasn't, and that's not a plane that was built by the government for the president. It was a gift from the Qatari government, to the president, to Trump, to kiss his ass like they always do, like everybody do. Because they know that's the only way to get anything from him, just to kiss his ass. That's all you got to do. Just for the moment, get what you need. And call him a jerk as soon as you leave him. But yeah, they get them a plane, and they knew that plane could not like the Air Force One, like the real Air Force One, the official Air Force One. This plane wasn't built to withstand anything like that. So they knew if he'd went up in that plane that, JD Vance would be president right now. Yeah, that might. I don't want to think about that. I'm be all God. But yes, that was that. But they showed me loading the plane. He walking onto the plane, and then the press and everybody walked onto the plane, and they hid him. They snuck him out of the plane some delivery box truck, you know, and then he flew on the real Air Force One, and then whenever they got back to whenever everybody left, they got him back on the plane and they got him off, and so he looked like he flew on that plane the whole time, but he didn't. He flew on the other one because of the threat to his life. So he's sitting up here and they asked him about it, and all he said was, the Secret Service, the Army, I do what they say. They are in charge. Now, if that was any other person, I'll be okay with that. But this the man who says the buck stops with him. This the man who put millions in all of these damn departments just so he could reign over them. Now all of a sudden, when there's a colossal, he looks like a fool out here. What did he do? He gonna say that he gonna blame he gonna say the Secret Service or it's the military. It's the military. I do what they do. I knew nothing about it. I just do what they say. Get the and people believe that. And that's what I'm saying. That's idiotic. I'm just saying all this stuff is idiotic, man. I try to like hold. I don't get involved. I try not to get into the day to day. I don't saturate my mind with it because I don't feel like you know going there or talking about we having this man like the as the term says now, the popular term now. I'm not about to have this man living rent free in my head. So I just try to I get bits and pieces a little bit. I know I know how I feel about him. I know he do dumb stuff. So I'm not gonna sit up there. I don't be surprised when he do dumb stuff because dumb people do dumb stuff. And I think he's a dumb person. Personally, he just got gifted a lot of money. You give a dumb person a lot of money, dumb things gonna happen. And right now, dumb things are happening because this a section of this damn country elected a dumb person to be a leader. This is what happens when you have dumb leaders. Dumb things happen. We sitting up here running out of munitions because this dummy sitting up here bombing this country for no reason, for some old fabricated reason or whatever. Yeah, it just all this stuff ain't worked out, and that's all he's doing is weakening. All he's doing is weakening the next president. So this is what's going on. This is what we got to deal with. This is what we got to fight through. So you know, hopefully damage won't be too bad because damage has been done. Don't believe me, but make no mistake about it. Damage has been done in this country internally as far as the trust, the that's like the core trust. Honestly, the basic question in life, this country can't even ask. Who are you? You ask the United States for the United States, who are you? And we don't know. The United States is different things, so many different things to different people. You know, we don't have a. We have. I'm trying to come up with like an identity for the United States that's not bound in hate, like hate, depression, or murder or oppression. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, I'm trying to think of like what is our identity here because I don't I don't do all that, freedom, democracy, and all that stuff. Nah, no. We're not that. What kind of, what is our identity? And maybe Trump showing us who our identity is, what our identity is. because we don't. This country is just so it's so it's like it's been held together by duct tape for 250 years, and now that damn tape is falling apart. That's exactly what it's been. This country's been held together by duct tape, and just that's how I feel. And I feel like now it's falling apart, and not like not anything drastic, not like an apocalypse or nothing like that. But I think the fabric of this country, the lies and the things that this country was built upon, and preach to people and stuff. I think that house of cards, I think that stuff is falling, man, because people are educated now and people are learning more about the damn, the dishonesty, the thievery, the damn, just the whole deception and this the way we do things, and we go out in the world and try to fight and try to tell other countries they can't do the same thing that we're doing. That's idiotic. That's the definition. That's like a bully. And nah, that's not that. Them things that don't work anymore. That don't work anymore. Everybody got money. Everybody got guns. Everybody got all this. So the playing field, well, the playing field is more level than it was years ago, and that's what we are dealing with. And these people that's all this rah rah America first and all this can't deal with it, man, because they don't want us to live amongst the world. They want us to rule the world, like America. That's why they talking about that America first. That America first is BS, man. We got to learn to live amongst these people. We got to learn to live amongst everybody. Everybody in this country, everybody, our neighbors. Learn how to live. We got to learn how to exist amongst Canada, Canadians, Mexicans, Central Americans, South Americans, all that. But I don't know. They somehow letting Trump hell bent on just isolating us from everybody. And isolation is, that's just a recipe for us for our destruction, being isolated. Because the reason what made our strength was our alliances with other countries. Now the alliances are shaky, and I don't know if I don't care who the president is. I don't know if a new president can repair them alliances in one term or two terms, because Trump has damaged this, and Trump has damaged it, and a whole legion of Americans of conservative Republicans of MAGA, a whole legion of them has reinforced what Trump has said. So people around this world are like, how can we trust it? Trump may be gone, but his damn people still here. And they was spitting the same thing he was spitting. So how can we trust them? So yes, it's gonna be tough. We can do it, but it's gonna be tough. So yeah. One more thing, I mean, I look at like I said, I look at politics like that, but I don't. I keep up with it, but like I said, I don't consume it like I did before. I don't consume it like I did, like I said, when Barack Obama was in office, and all this. I consumed it a whole lot, but I don't do it that much. But yeah, I have to give a shout out to David Crowley. David Crowley is his brother who running for Democratic. He was a Democratic nominee for governor in Wisconsin. He won his primary last night. I ain't heard him talk. I just like, if I hear a brother, I ain't gonna lie. And when I hear what he have to say, hopefully I'll be able to continue to like him. And I don't, but people out here talking crazy now, I hold him up to a standard. You can be out, you better represent. I ain't gonna sit up here and support you because you black. I just gave you props because you up here doing your thing. It's good to see somebody look like me in this American government that was built for the only white men. It's good to see us represented, no matter what position it is. It's good to see us up here. So it's good. I hope he, continue. I hope he does his thing. He's gonna get, he's gonna get, all the criticisms, all the typical criticisms that being a black man and being a Democrat. Y'all already know what kind of, criticism you're gonna get. So go ahead and be ready for that. And I hope he does his thing, man. Because I want to see us in this government. That's how we gonna, us as black folks. We want to make the government work for us. We got to get in this government. Don't be afraid. People say, don't be afraid to run for something. Don't be afraid to run for anything. I don't care if it's your damn class president. I don't care if it's the damn dog catcher. Run for it. Get in the government, man. Get in there and change it. If you want things to change, you got to be the change. Don't pray for change, be the change. That being said, I thank y'all for being here with me today. Like I said, I'm feeling the weather. My voice getting back under me a little bit. Hopefully, when I come back Friday, I do a better job. My voice will be a little bit better. It's in this new, open space and stuff. So I feel a little bit, better. A little bit more comfortable. I wasn't uncomfortable before, but I'm in a better environment. You know, it's better. So like I said, hopefully, I'll be able to bring better, better content. Be able to bring, you know, more of myself, bring a better version of myself every time I come up here. Be a better person, and I'm glad that I'm able to be in a position to be able to give some sort of knowledge to y'all, man, because I've gained a lot of knowledge in my life. Am I know it all? Hell no. I don't already know shit. But what I do know, I might can help somebody out. So if I can do that, that's what I'm here for. You And that's what I'm here for. Now, like I said, I like to appreciate. I like to appreciate. I like to thank y'all for being here with me again. I appreciate all of y'all, man. I wish I would hope y'all have a good evening. Hope y'all take care of yourself. Like I always say, I say this for a reason. My man Ant, he repeated it to me. That let me know. That made me double down. I'm gonna say it after every show. Kiss your kids, kiss your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Tell them how you feel. Tell them what you've been thinking about. Whatever. Don't wait because you might not get that chance. So whenever you get the chance, always do that. Things changing every day. You never know. It might not be that. You might not get that chance. So whenever you can do it now, do it. I love all of y'all. Y'all have a good evening. I'll see y'all in 2 days.